When words fail and danger lurks, the strongest voice may come from a silent child and her loyal dog. Together, they hold the key to a truth that will shock everyone in the courtroom. The courtroom was quiet as 5-year-old Lily Bennett walked through the big wooden doors. She held the leash of Max, a German Shepherd dog with a long scar on his side. Everyone watched the small girl as she walked to the witness stand, slow but brave. Judge William Sullivan leaned forward to watch her. He knew the whole case depended on this little girl. Lily was the only one who saw the kidnapping attempt, a case that could put a dangerous man in jail forever. But there was a big problem. Lily hadn't said a single word since the attack. Across the room, Thomas Mercer sat at the defense table. He looked calm, even smug. The 40-year-old computer worker had been arrested after someone saw him trying to take Lily. But he had a strong defense, no real proof, no confession, and a witness who couldn't talk. His lawyer planned to show that the scared child couldn't really identify him. Then something happened. As Lily sat in the witness chair, her green eyes looked at Thomas Mercer. Her small fingers made a tiny movement that most people missed. It was a silent signal she learned in therapy. Only 2 beings in the room noticed it, Max and Judge Sullivan. Max reacted right away. When Lily's fingers moved in that silent call for help, the dog's body went stiff. His ears stood up, his muscles got tight like a spring. A deep growl came from his chest, a sound of warning, of knowing. His brown eyes locked onto Mercer, steady and fierce. This made everyone in the courtroom nervous. People started whispering. "What's happening with the dog?" someone asked quietly. "Look how he's staring at the man," another whispered. This wasn't just a trained support dog reacting to his owner's fear. This was something deeper, something instinctive. Judge Sullivan hit his gavel hard. The loud crack echoed through the room. "This court will take a 15-minute break," he said, his voice urgent. The prosecutor, Victoria Edwards, gave him a confused look, but he didn't look at her. Instead, he looked at Lily, who held on to Max like a lifeline. Something important had just happened, and he needed to understand what it was before the trial went on. As people left the courtroom, Sullivan stayed in his seat, thinking. In all his years as a judge, he'd never seen a therapy dog react so strongly. What had Max recognized, and what did that mean for the case? In the hallway, Lily knelt beside Max, holding his fur tightly. Her mother, Rachel Bennett, bent down next to her, smoothing her curly hair. "Sweetheart, are you okay?" she whispered. Lily didn't answer. She didn't need to. She held Max tighter, pressing against his side for comfort. Robert Harrison, the FBI agent leading the case, watched from nearby. The experienced agent had good instincts that had helped him many times. Right now, his gut told him that what happened in that courtroom was a game changer. He stepped closer. To Judge Sullivan. "Something scared that dog," he said quietly. "I bet he knows Mercer from somewhere." Sullivan took a deep breath, his green eyes narrowing. "Then we need to find out where." Meanwhile, in a private room, Thomas Mercer sat with his lawyer, Daniel Fisher. When they were alone, Mercer's confident look changed to something colder. His fingers tapped on the table as he thought about what happened. "The girl didn't speak," he muttered. "But the dog reacted. She knows." Fisher raised an eyebrow. "What?" "Nothing," Mercer said with a forced smile. But his mind was racing. That damn dog. He hadn't thought the animal would be a problem. Now, he realized Max might ruin everything. As the break ended, Judge Sullivan straightened his robes and took a deep breath. He didn't believe in coincidences, and he felt that Max had just given them the most important clue of the trial. It was time to look deeper, and for the first time since the case started, he felt things changing. Before all this happened, Lily Bennett was a happy, chatty child. At 5 years old, she loved to tell stories, her bright green eyes full of wonder and fun. She loved fairy tales, stuffed animals, and how her mother read bedtime stories using different voices for each character. She had never known fear until that terrible afternoon. It had been a perfect spring day. Flowers were blooming and warm. Sunlight filled the backyard. Rachel Bennett watched her daughter from the kitchen window, smiling as Lily twirled around, her pink dress spinning like a dancer's. Look at me, Mommy. I'm a butterfly. Lily had called earlier, her laugh floating. Through the open window. Her dad, Nathan, was coming home in a few hours, and Rachel was deciding whether to start dinner. It should have been a normal afternoon. It should have been safe. At 3:30 p.m., Rachel's phone rang. It was her sister calling from out of town, and she went inside for what she thought would be a quick talk. 4 minutes. That's all it took. When she came back to the yard, the gate was open. Cold fear shot through her as she looked for her daughter. Lily was still there, but she wasn't alone. A black van was parked nearby, its door open. A man knelt beside Lily with a scary smile. "I have puppies in my van," he was saying in a smooth voice. "Special ones. They need a little girl to take care of them. Would you like to see?" Rachel felt like time slowed down. Her mother's instinct screamed danger before her mind could even process it. "Lily!" she shouted. The man's head snapped. Up. His smile disappeared, replaced by a cold, calculating look. He grabbed Lily's arm. Lily froze. She didn't scream. She didn't fight. She just stared at him with wide eyes like she was too scared to move. Across the street, Eleanor Wright, an old nurse walking her small dog, saw everything. "Hey, get away from that child," she yelled in a strong voice. The man paused. His grip loosened for just a second. That was enough. Lily pulled free and ran to her mother. Rachel grabbed her daughter just as the van's engine roared. The tires squealed as the van sped away, leaving black marks on the road. Rachel held Lily tight, her heart pounding. But Lily didn't cry. She didn't say a word. She just buried her face in her mother's shoulder and shook. The police came quickly. Detective Robert Harrison, who worked on child kidnapping cases, took charge. His gray hair and sharp eyes showed years of looking for missing children who were often never found. "He fits the pattern," Harrison said, looking at his notebook. 4 children have gone missing in the last year and a half. All of them were approached, near their homes, all lured with promises of puppies. His partner, Agent Olivia Taylor, knelt beside Lily, her voice gentle but firm. "Sweetheart, do you remember what the man looked like?" Silence. Rachel stroked Lily's hair, her hands shaking. "Honey, it's okay. You're safe now. Can you tell the nice officer what he looked like?" Lily's small hands gripped her mother's sweater tightly, but she didn't speak. She didn't nod. She didn't shake her head. It was like someone had turned off. Her voice completely. "She hasn't said a word since I picked her up," Rachel whispered, fear in her voice. "She just won't talk." Agent Taylor looked at Harrison. "Selective mutism," she said quietly. "A trauma response." Harrison sighed, rubbing his head. "Without her statement, we don't have much. The description is too vague. A man, a black van. It could be anyone." Eleanor Wright stepped forward. "I got part of the license plate," she said firmly. "The first 3 letters, YKZ. Harrison looked at her sharply. "That's something." Rachel, still holding Lily, felt helpless. Her daughter, once so full of life, had withdrawn into herself. And in the days that followed, it only got worse. Lily stopped playing. She stopped drawing. She refused to leave the house, jumping at the sight of passing cars. She barely slept, and when she did, she had silent nightmares, her small body fighting against unseen threats. Her screams never coming, only gasps of fear that woke her parents in the middle of the night. Rachel and Nathan tried everything: stories, favorite foods, her beloved stuffed bunny. Nothing worked. The child they knew was slipping away. One evening, Rachel sat with Nathan at the kitchen table, tired from lack of sleep. The therapist suggested a support animal, she said quietly. A therapy dog. Nathan ran a tired hand through his hair. "You really think that'll help?" "I don't know," Rachel admitted, "but I'm willing to try anything." Neither of them knew how much that decision would change everything, because while Lily had lost her voice, there was someone who could still hear her, and his name was Max. Dr. Catherine Morgan's animal center smelled of cleaning products and fur. The room was quiet, except for the ticking clock and the occasional scratch of claws on the floor. On a large dog bed near the window, a German shepherd lay still, his deep brown eyes watching everything carefully. His name was Max. Once, he had been one of the best police dogs in the city, a dog whose instincts and training had saved lives. But now he had scars, one particularly jagged mark down his right side, a reminder of the night that ended his career. 3 years ago, during a raid to rescue a kidnapped child, Max had jumped at an armed suspect without hesitation. The man had cut him with a knife meant for a police officer, slicing deep into Max's side. Max had stopped the suspect even while bleeding, but in the months that followed, the injury never fully healed. He couldn't move as well, and the department, short on money, decided to retire him. They were going to put him to sleep, thinking he couldn't serve anymore. That was before Catherine stepped in. Dr. Morgan had been running the therapy animal program for years, helping animals work with trauma survivors. When she heard about Max's case, she fought to adopt him, believing that his smart mind and loyalty still had value. They were going to put him down, she told Rachel Bennett. But I knew he still had important work to do. He saved a child once. Maybe he can help your daughter now. Rachel sat nervously in a chair, gripping her skirt. Lily stood behind her, peeking out from her mother's shoulder. The little girl hadn't spoken since the incident 2 weeks ago, and though she had gone to therapy, nothing had made her talk. Catherine knelt to Lily's level, her voice gentle. "Hi, Lily. My name is Catherine. I work with special dogs that help kids who have been through scary things." Lily said nothing, her green eyes looking at the large German shepherd a few feet away. Max sat patiently, his ears up, but he didn't move toward her. He just watched, calm and steady. "Would you like to meet him?" Catherine asked. The little girl didn't answer, but she didn't run away either. That was a start. Rachel smoothed her daughter's hair. "He's a very nice dog, sweetheart. He used to be a police dog, just like the ones in your storybooks." Catherine gave Max a quiet command. "Stay." The German shepherd didn't move. Catherine turned back to Lily. "You don't have to come close if you don't want to. Max will wait right here, but if you feel ready, you can put out your hand and he'll come to you." Lily hesitated. For a long time, she stood frozen. Then, slowly, she stepped out from behind her mother. Her small hand reached out, shaking, but brave. Max waited for the final sign. When Catherine nodded, he slowly lowered his head and took a careful step forward. Then another and another. Sorry for the interruption. Before we continue with the story, I kindly ask you to like the video and subscribe to this channel. It is very important for us. Thank you very much. When his warm breath touched Lily's hand, something changed. Lily's fingers curled slightly. Feeling the dog's thick fur, a connection was made. Rachel gasped softly, her hand over her mouth. It was the first time Lily had reached out to anything or anyone since the attack. Tears filled her eyes as she whispered, "Oh, baby." Lily's small fingers dug deeper into Max's fur, holding him like he was the only solid thing in her scary world. Catherine smiled. "That's a good girl, Lily. Max likes you." The child didn't speak, but she didn't let go. Over the next few weeks, Max and Lily became inseparable. At home, she would sit beside him for hours, her tiny hands tracing the scar along his side. When nightmares woke her in the middle of the night, it was Max's steady heartbeat that calmed her. Though she still wouldn't speak, she began drawing again. Simple crayon pictures of a girl and a dog standing together against dark figures. One afternoon, while sitting on the floor of Catherine's office, Lily was watching Max do a simple trick when something amazing happened. "Good boy," she whispered. The words were so soft that for a moment Rachel thought she had imagined them. But when she turned, she saw Lily looking at Max, her lips slightly parted in wonder, as if she, too, was surprised by her own voice. Tears filled Rachel's eyes. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Catherine placed a gentle hand on Rachel's arm. "She trusts him," she said softly. "Sometimes trust is the first step toward finding your voice again." Rachel squeezed her hand. "Then we'll follow wherever that trust leads." and it would lead them somewhere they never expected, to a courtroom where a monster would finally be caught. The case had new developments. Thomas Mercer had been linked to other missing children, but without Lily's testimony, the trial was uncertain. The key to the case would come from the dog who never left Lily's side. The prosecution found new evidence. Dirt from Mercer's van matched a remote cabin in the woods. "Your Honor," Edward said to the judge, "we ask for a 24-hour break to check this lead." Despite objections, the judge agreed. Harrison's team set out, bringing Max along. His reaction to Mercer had been telling. "Are you sure about bringing the dog?" an officer asked. "That dog knows something we don't," Harrison replied. "I trust animal instincts." At the lonely cabin, Max became instantly alert. His body stiffened. Tail up as he growled and paced anxiously. "Something's wrong here," Harrison said. "Max feels it." Inside, Harrison found an odd seam in the wooden floor. When they pried it open, they found a hidden basement with children's things. In the far corner, chained but alive, was Sophie Patterson, an 8-year-old missing for 6 months. "Help," she whispered, her voice rough from disuse. Max whined, pulling toward her as Harrison rushed to free her. "You're safe now," he told the shaking child. "We've got you." Back in court, Edwards faced Mercer with the evidence. "Your DNA was on the chains, your tire tracks match those at the cabin, and Sophie Patterson is alive to testify." Mercer's calm facade crumbled. Then Max, lying at Lily's feet, suddenly lifted his head. His eyes narrowed at Mercer, the hair on his back rising as he growled deeply. The room went quiet as the dog stared at the defendant with clear recognition. Mercer visibly flinched. "I want to change my plea," he whispered. "Mr. Mercer, are you saying you want to plead guilty?" Judge Sullivan asked. "Yes." Thomas Mercer got life, in prison with no chance of parole. But the real heroes weren't just the lawyers or detectives. It was a 5-year-old girl who found her courage and a dog who never gave up on her. In the days after the sentencing, Lily spoke her first full words in weeks. Holding Max's face in her small hands, she whispered, "Thank you." Her parents cried, knowing their daughter was finding her way back. And as Max wagged his tail, nudging her gently, it was clear some bonds can't be broken. No matter how dark the world became, there would always be those willing to stand against the darkness, even if they walked on 4 legs. Did you enjoy this story? What would you do if you witnessed someone trying to harm a child? Would you speak up like Eleanor Wright did in our story? Let us know in the comments below. If you liked the story, subscribe to this channel and leave a like. Sometimes the strongest heroes are those who stand beside us in silence, helping us find our voice again. Thanks so much for listening. See you in the next video. Have a great day.